come, there is more from there. And I promise you, on Mayegun's Diary Politico, we will dig as much as we can, fact for fact, present them to these viewers and the generations that need to know, how did Nigeria arrive here? How did Nigeria become this lawless country? There are sandpapers, senior advocate of nuisance, who have corrupted the system so much that it has become the norm. It has become the norm. Now, you will be sounding pretty much like a stranger to them when you begin to question them. They'll just look at you and be like, is this one JJC? Are you new? It's not new now. I mean, there's esprit de corps. Esprit de corps means that you have to cover this whole thing up. You are not supposed to speak out. And the man that is unraveling this, getting all of us interested, the great author, Dele Farotimi, the writer of the bestseller book, has done great justice to this. And tens of thousands of this book is now in the hands of tens of thousands of people who are now realizing that, yes, we know Nigeria is corrupt, but this one is like an extra corruption. And there will be more to be unraveled. And that is why today is being tried for what they called the defamation before, but they have now turned that into what they now call cyberbullying, cyber stalking of Afe Babalola. So the Nigerian police is now defending Afe Babalola. They put curves on a man, the truth teller, the man that has exposed them so much and is not saying anything new. Dele Farotimi is not saying anything new. A lot of you know all these things anyway. You knew about all these things before now. So what is Dele Farotimi saying that you have never heard before? Or is it the way he's saying it? Oh, he published a book, fact for facts, not fiction, not make-up stories. Rather than them to man up and actually face him, especially those people he mentioned, they resorted back to the same style that he exposed, the corrupt system that will always shield the rich and powerful from the law or facing the justice, the consequences of the action. The same thing he wrote in the book is exact thing they are now doing to him. A system that could put a cuff on the truth teller, and they had a thief as a celebrity. Yeye Bello stole 110 billion naira from the people of Kogi State. He is a celebrity, right? But a man that decided to tell the world, tell all of us, especially the younger generation, why Nigeria is what Nigeria is and why your citizenship as Nigerian doesn't exist. You are merely subject. We are merely subjects. So all you have to do to become somebody is to find your way into the circle of criminals that will shield you. And then you can make some blood money, spread it around, become a philanthropist, right? Loot the people, then share a tiny bit of it so that you can be protected. Justice. No. You can buy justice. And that is why in that contraption today, you will see some of these Ronukus, these ones that their futures have been mortgaged. They will praise the man on the right, okay, a thief, and they will call for the head of the man on the left, Dele Farotimi. I'll leave it at that and go to something else again. This morning, George Akume, another criminal from Benue State. George Akume is the secretary to the government of the Federation, appointed by Tinubu. He issued a statement. It's not even a statement, it's actually a warning. He was warning the northerners. I don't want to say northern leaders, the northerners, who are complaining so much and bitterly about Tinubu, that they should better tread carefully. All this all this idea of trying to remove Tinubu and replace him in 2027, it could be a catalyst to the breakup of Nigeria. The SGF of Nigeria just warned the region that Nigeria may come to an end in 2027 if northern Nigeria continue this their push that they want to remove Tinubu. Because according to him, the unity or the existence of Nigeria depends on Tinubu spending his 8 years uninterrupted. It is not like the people have to decide normally, right? Like, there's a chance that the northern Nigeria are getting to that stage of resistance, a particular resistance that they mounted against Goodluck Ebere Jonathan in 2015, where Jonathan absconded when he said, my election, there is no blood of Nigerians that is, my election is not more valuable than the life or the blood of any Nigerian, which means I am not going to go for blood like this APC. Ebekebe are making the 2015 elections a do or die. So he threw in the towel by letting them have their way. 9 years after, Nigeria is worse off. Now, a southerner is there now who rigged himself in. A man that never won any election. A drug baron, drug dealer. A drug addict himself. A certificate forger. Election rigger. And treasury looter. Tinubu. Now, for those who are already benefiting from Tinubu, Nigeria may be going through some hardship. But it is not worth you having a say in removing an incompetent, corrupt government. Rather, you will have to endure him for the next, how many years left now? 6.5 years. Or else, Nigeria will break up. So that sounds like something interesting. You see, there are so many of us who believe that, except for the fact that Nigeria is a turn-by-turn Nigeria Limited, where everybody is waiting for their own turn. Since Tinubu said, Emi lokan, Yoruba lokan. It's unfortunate, though, that the Yorubas, who share the same ethnic nationality with Tinubu and his gang of thieves, they are facing the worst of the economic downturn in that Nigeria today. More of our children are now out of school. A lot of our people can no longer afford their medical bills, even though the whole ruined Nigeria started from Bokwari. But now people know better. That when Tinubu said Yoruba lokan, Emi lokan, he wasn't referring to the Yorubas. He was referring to himself, his friends, his family members. And so to that, a lot of them are now kind of like a sharing in the largesse. They are enjoying this ruined Nigeria, piling up debt, devaluing your currency, creating more job losses, unemployment. But they are feeding them with propaganda, though. Yeah. A lot of our people are now getting to that stage of kwashoko. The kwashoko is that they are getting big bellies, big heads, tiny arms, tiny legs, tiny laps, like a grasshopper, whereby hunger won't finish them. But why are their bellies becoming protruding like the kwashoko? Because now propaganda that they feed them, to the point that some of them are even blaming themselves for why Nigeria is what it is. It is our fault. We are all supposed to live within our means. They even told them that when they were able to afford a liter of petroleum, when so many of them were able to actually pay their bills, they said, no, that was a fake life then. So it is not. The Emi lokan is not actually for the Yorubas. In fact, in all honesty, there's never been any president, whether military or civilian, in Nigeria in the last 64 years of Nigeria that has lifted their own people out of poverty. They would rather dip them more. Let's start from that year, 1960. Well, probably briefly when you had the regional system of government, there was a bit of a shared prosperity, right? But since after 1966, when everything entered canal, and since then it has become the turn-by-turn Nigeria Limited, there is never any single one of them. Out of 64 years of Nigeria, the northern Nigeria has ruled Nigeria for 47 years. And guess what? By the time Tinubu is done in 2027, the southern Nigeria would have ruled for 17 years. 17 years out of 64 years. But guess what? The northern Nigeria remains the poorest part of Nigeria. It also remained, right, the educationally backward part of Nigeria, the most terrorized part of Nigeria, unfortunately. But guess what? Again, their political elites who have been so sort of addicted to power, right? They have become stupendously rich, generational wealth from the stolen wealth of the rest of Nigeria. Unfortunately, again, they've never impacted positively in the lives of their people. So yeah, fear that they feel like since Nigeria returned to democracy, demonstration of grace, right? 26 years ago, the southern part of Nigeria by 2027 would have ruled Nigeria for 17 years. In fact, it's 27. 27 plus, anyway. Yeah, they would have ruled Nigeria for 17 years. Obasanjo, 8 years. Egbere Jolantan, 5 years. That's 13. Tinubu, 4 years. That would have been 17 years, right? And in that same period, the northern Nigeria has ruled for 11. So, Tinubu is failing. Nigeria is crumbling. So, how dare Akume, let's even take the north or the south, how dare Akume try to tell us that Nigeria will break up if Tinubu does not get a second term? I mean, I understand the fact that Atiku, the most greedy, selfish politician in Nigeria, the man that because of his own selfishness, self-centered interest, his own greed, plunged Nigeria into this political quagmire. They bet APC. Atiku wanted to be president. And he couldn't be patient enough for Goodluck Egbere Jolantan to do his own second term. If he had allowed him, Atiku would probably be your president now. Rounding up, he will be in his second, I'm just saying, in his second term, right? But because of his greed and selfishness, he teamed up with a jihadist, a terrorist sympathizer, Boko Haram. They teamed up with a drug baron, a treasury looter, certificate forger, a hooligans, regional touts, Tinubu, and they formed APC, Ebekebe, Al-Qaeda People's Congress, Akpanyo People's Congress, all promises cancelled. They formed that only for him to lose out to Boko Haram. 8 years after that, Atiku wanted to be president again. And he still wants to be president again. So if Nigeria will break up because of the northern Nigerians' greed, so be it. I'm interested in that. But Akume is not the type that will use Tinubu's failure as a bargaining chip. I want to see them fight. I want to see them tear themselves apart. You remember on this platform, we believe that the corrupt system you have in Nigeria, the establishment, that seems so much like impenetrable. That seemed like they have captured the people through their state capture. That seemed like the people have become so powerless. I said on this platform, and I believe that they will self-destruct. They will get so powerful. I mean, they'll feel so powerful. Remember PDP? PDP used to tell people that they will rule Nigeria for 50 years uninterrupted. That was how powerful they felt. That was how invincible they felt. But they could only do it for 16 years. The moment they started their own self-destruct button, they destroyed themselves. Up to this moment, they have not recovered. The same PDP has created Wiki, somebody who has become the Omuale of PDP. They said, if a house is peaceful, now because say the Omuale inside that house is yet to grow, Wiki has grown from a street tout to local government chairman, then to a chief of staff in Rivers, to a commissioner of education state, and to the governor of Rivers, and now to the minister of FCT. The Omwali of PDP has grown, and he has so much money. So today, PDP that once told us that they will rule Nigeria for 50 years uninterrupted, they only lasted 16. Obankparo, Obasanjo, that tore his own membership card in protest against the advice he gave to Goodluck Ebele Jonathan in 2015. Obasanjo, a greedy, selfish man as well, right? The one who had a chance of putting Nigeria on the path of true federalism, but because of his own selfishness and greed for power, right, punished Nigeria with a sick man, Yaradua, who died in power. The same Obasanjo wanted Sule Lamido to become the president by returning the power to northern Nigeria in 2015. Jonathan disagreed and stopped picking Obasanjo's call. Obasanjo started writing letter, and at the end of the day, Obasanjo went for drug dealers, thieves, other criminals, strange bedfellows to form APC. He didn't join, but he motivated them. He backed Bukwari. Last, they rubbished him. They rubbished Obasanjo to the point that he is not recovered from that since. He stopped writing letters because nobody was picking his call, nor reading his letters. He became almost as useless as tissue paper. So, fast forward to 2024, Akume and gang are now warning the northern Nigeria. Nigeria will break. If anybody tried to remove Tinubu, I want it to break. Remove Tinubu. Scatter everything. Let's see how that plays out. So they send somebody, is it Payosibe or something, to channels to reply Akume in his words with Shehu Kimbaloye this evening.
The thought of Mr. Atiku Abubakar. You speak for him. Well, the voice of Paul is the voice of Atiku.
Well, even if it's not the voice of Atiku Abubakar, the voice of Paul Ibe is also the voice of a Nigerian citizen. And so I'm a stakeholder. And I think, I've been thinking hard, what may have informed what the SGF, said. Because the last time that I checked, that was not part of his job prescription. And you see why they are failing at this job of governance. It is because they are focused on politics. Why must we reward a student who, did not pass his examination? Why must we reward him with promotion, her with promotion? And it appeared that Akume's, job in that particular interview, was very clear. Kidnap, the aspirations of Atiku Abubakar and any other northerner. And that was very responsible of him, to say the least.
Is Atiku Abubakar still intending to run in 2027?
That is not the issue.
But it's an issue, though. It's an issue.
No.
Is Atiku hoping to run in 2027? You can't put the cart
before the horse.
And listen, which is a cat and which is a horse now?
Listen, Shehu, the country is at crossroads as we speak. Look at the indices. Look at food inflation. Look at inflation. Look at the cost of doing business. Look at the life of the average citizen. Must we be playing politics with their well-being? That's why I said you can't put, the cart before the horse. We can't be talking about aspiration, but I think it was irresponsible of the SGF to have gone on national TV to, so to say, kidnap, the aspirations, the ambition of, of northern leaders. He's not qualified.
But is it fair to say, after Buhari spent 8 years in office, it is natural for a southerner to, because that was the agitation and what some northern leaders within the APC actually were fighting for. And that was what caused the kind of upset or the kind of ruckus in your party, in the PDP, as to those who believe that how can a northerner, after 8 years of Muhammadu Buhari, succeed another northerner?
It is wrong to assume that the whole of Nigeria is either about the APC or even maybe the PDP. If the SGF had put a caveat that he was speaking, what he was referencing, affects the APC, we can understand that, but not the whole nation. Listen, let me even break it down, for you. The 17 years versus 11 since 1999. The 16 years of PDP, the South has ruled for 13 years. The North for 3 years. Under the APC, the North has ruled for 8 years. The South, President Tinubu, 2 years. By 2027, 4 years. And when you sum all that up, there's still a balance of 6 years, 1 term and a half. The South will have ruled for 17 years, and the North for 11 years. When you minus 11 from 17, you have 6 years. So when we're talking about equity, you must come to it with clean hands.
The thought of
I right. Atiku is 78 years old right now. By 2027, Atiku will be 81 years old. And Paul Ibe even added that age is not an issue. Atiku is healthy. Atiku is this, that. Some of them are even saying that they should pair Atiku and Peter Obi together, like they did in 2019. The obedient are saying, why not the other way? Obi and Atiku. Make Atiku be vice president. They said Obi is consulting, all right? And that they will try that ticket again, that combo. That Atiku will only do 1 term of 4 years. It's been war on social media in the last 2-3 days. The articulators, the articulated mugus, the articulated morons, they have been at loggerheads with the obedient. The same obedient they blame for Tinubu's emergence. They say it was because Peter Obi left. That was why Atiku lost. Not because these clowns. I have this image. I want to share it. In fact, I had to share this image just to remind us, right? So not because these clowns, the G-string clowns, where Werewike was their chairman. Remember the G-string clowns? These 5 clowns that were having their ashwebi all the time. Remember them? This Soloma Kende Ibadan. Dr. Musugomu of Benue. Then, what will this guy, where they may do again from Abia? From Enugu. From Abia, Werewike. Then, Buruburu, what do they call this one? So these clowns that worked for Tinubu, by the way, the guy in the middle is going to become an ambassador. They won't give him ambassador. I don't know which country. Okay? So they won't give this other one. We come from Abia as well. They won't give him governor. Ekweazu, God bless you. His name is Ekweazu. You see these 2 guys, the one in the middle and the one on the far right. Tinubu won't make them ambassadors. I don't know to what countries. Okay? No thanks to Werewike. These are the people that publicly, openly, ensure that not only did they work against Atiku and PDP, they ensure that Atiku was not allowed to campaign in their states. But the articulators, the articulated mugus, the SPV boys, they have been at loggerheads with the obedient. Anyway, so they are telling themselves that Atiku will do 4 years, 1 term, and he will hand over to Obi. And people are saying, in what political party or what have you? So when they ask this Paul Ibe, Atiku is getting old. So, no, he's very healthy. And if equity and fairness, the northern Nigeria has only ruled in this democratic dispensation for just 11 years. They deserve to have 8 years to balance it. And then everything will balance again. And then they can, listen.
Fair. I don't think it's fair. Let me say that, do you see that, or what are you inferring that it is the time of the North in 2027? Is that what you're saying?
Listen. You see, why the desperation of the Tinubu administration? We'll be talking about 2027. When they have not concluded 2024, 2025 beckons, and 2026. 2 more years to impact on